Today we are going to make a 2-tier accessory storage tray, which is perfect for your bathroom. And we're going to use these affirmation boards that I got at the dollar store, so it's really inexpensive. We're going to grab some paint, and I'm using chalk paint. And I love chalk paint because you don't have to prep anything. You're going to want to put at least 2 coats on all your boards. And then we're going to let one side dry, and that didn't take very long. And then we're going to paint the inside of each one of these signs. Next, you're going to put together your 2 tiers. So grab your hot glue, or you can use liquid nails, and you're going to take the smaller square and add that on either side of your top tray. And it doesn't matter what you have. You may find a rectangle, you may have a square. I just happen to find squares. Next, I grabbed a small wood sign, and that's going to be like a little tray that fits under our other tier. You can use whatever you want to line your tray, but I happen to have some cane from another DIY project, and I cut that to fit. But you can use whatever you want in your tray, like scrapbook paper or fabric or some wallpaper. It's really whatever is your style. Next, I added a bead of glue with my hot glue gun. And because the cane is much thicker than, like, say, paper or cloth, I used a glue gun as opposed to Mod Podge or some other glue adhesive. And I put that in there and made sure that was snug. And because this cane is so thick, I needed to make sure it was secure in the center. So I grabbed my glue gun and put a little bead underneath the holes. And a trick I use is I take a glue stick to hold it down. Now we're going to make the finished edge a little more refined by grabbing some jute. You can use twine, you can use ribbon, whatever you want. But we are going to put that all around the perimeter of the rattan to make it look more finished. And I just grabbed my hot glue, I added the jute throughout the bottom, and just did that all the way around until I got to the other side. And again, you can use whatever you want for your trim, whatever is your style. Now it's time to do the top tray, and we're going to do this one a little different. We're going to use some scrapbook paper. So grab some Mod Podge and a sponge brush, and put a thin layer along the bottom. And then grab some scrap paper. I used something that was like a map. I thought it looked so cute. It looked very worldly, and I loved the whole vibe of it. And then smooth that down, and then to make it cohesive with the bottom tray, we're going to put the lining on the edge of the jute as well, which really makes this look so finished and refined, and it adds just a little extra detail. And again, you can use whatever you want, whatever is your style. A ribbon would look really pretty, even like a little bit of rhinestones, whatever's your style. And just put that all the way around. And remember the trick I had with the glue stick, so you don't burn your fingers. You could do the same thing on this part. Before we add our final details, you're going to want to seal your entire tray and the bottom tray by using an acrylic sealer. Then we are going to grab 2 brass handles, and we're going to glue those to each side. Now you don't have to do this part, but I thought it made it look really finished and high-end looking. And again, I used the hot glue, which is the Gorilla Glue, which I totally love. And we're going to do that on both sides. And after we do that, we are ready to style this adorable 2-tier tray. Are you ready to see the finished piece? This turned out so beautiful. It literally is better than I had imagined when I was coming up with the idea, and I was in the dollar store looking at these wood pieces. It's 2-tiered stand. It's a perfect place to keep accessories and small items. You can put jewelry in here. You can put your lotions. I put my hair oil and face oil and some crystals and a few of my favorite things that I use in my bath every day. And I just love it.
Let's get straight on with things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm putting on some gloves. Why am I putting on gloves? Because I'm going to be working with a product called alcohol inks. Now, if my lovely husband Nick could just zoom in here, I'm going to show you what alcohol inks are. These are just tiny little pots of colour that you can buy from your local art store, craft store, on Amazon. this little set of bathroom accessories from a store local to me. They're ceramic, but you can use anything that has a non-porous surface. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take just some cut up old plain white t-shirts, and I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol. Now this happens to be 90% or 91% isopropyl, but anything over 70% is fine, just rubbing alcohol. And I'm actually just going to wet my cloth and move this out of the way. And because anything with grease, or if you had stickers on here, is going to affect the way the alcohol actually sticks onto the piece, I'm just going to give it a very quick clean with the rubbing alcohol, just to get rid of any residue of fingers, because obviously you don't know that it's been in the store, who's been touching it. I'm not going to worry about leaving the sticker on the bottom. I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to do that to each of my items here, just on the outside, just to get rid of any stickiness. So you guys, do you think you know what I'm going to do? Because I am actually going to be using another household product whilst I do this make, and that is saran wrap. So I've given each of those a very quick clean. Now, if you are working with isopropyl alcohol on a regular basis, I highly recommend you get yourself one of these or a little breathing mask. But we're working in a well-ventilated room here. We only use that tiny little bit of alcohol to start with. So let me move my colours out of the way and get on with what we're going to do with this. Now, I thought it might be a little bit fun to pop on some of these, just around the top, a little bit of our painter's, I guess this is what you call a toothbrush holder. It doesn't matter if it's not 100% perfect, just as a measure line. It doesn't matter if it's not 100% straight, and you will see why when we create this finished reveal for this make. I just thought it'd be nice to have a little line around the top of it. Because this is a square, not a circle, I thought it might look quite pretty. So I'm just attaching this here and just using the top as a guide. This is just plain painter's tape, and I really like the fact that I can just use the width of this just as a guide, so I don't have to measure. Makes it super fast and super simple. So next we're going to take our saran wrap, as we call it here in North America, or as we say in the UK, our cling film. Now it's being a bit tricky, it's not letting me catch the end, which doesn't help when wearing gloves. So do you guys know what I'm going to do with this and how this is going to work? This is so simple, and these little things of alcohol ink, they only cost a couple of dollars each, so it's a really fun little trick and little play to do. You could do it on plates. So I have got here, I really love this indigo colour. This is by Tim Holtz, and it's by Ranger Tim Holtz, and it's called Indigo. But I also really love this kind of purple, this one here. This is called Blue Violet. So I'm going to put the two together. I'm also going to add a little bit of pink in here. So it's kind of a crazy combination of colours, but it should be fun. I'm going to splodge it all over the place. I'm just going to squirt it around, and it's just on the saran wrap. So there's our pink to start off with. That's by Pinata. Then we have our indigo, which is one of the Tim Holtz. And literally, we're not worrying at all about where the colour goes. And these colours, when they mix together, they really do mix beautifully. So that was our indigo. And now I'm going to go with the Blue Violet, which is just a slightly different tone, and these will mix together. If you were doing this and you were creating something like this at home, what colours would you use? You think you'd go for some greens, some reds, some blues? So let's first of all do this on our soap dispenser. So I'm going to take the top off it, and all I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry at all about getting any alcohol ink onto any places that it doesn't want to be in the end. And I'm just going to literally wrap it. Move this bit out of the way, and you want to make sure when you're doing this that the saran wrap actually covers all the way around your item. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around a bit. So these are going to be some pretty fun colours. And you see I've got a little bit of alcohol ink on the top there. It doesn't matter because we're going to be able to wipe that off afterwards. I'm just going to pat that down, pop it to one side, and then I'm going to repeat the process again. What's the next thing I'm going to do? I magically prepared some for you earlier. Now, the trick to this is leaving the items for 24 hours so that, right, this you can see I've just used a pink and a red, green and a red on here. And the trick is to leave it for 24 hours so that, let me move that out of the way because it's causing a shadow, so that when you take the cling film off, this is what happens. I'm going to let Nick zoom in here so he can get a really good look at our reveal. Are you ready for this? Look at that. You see, I told you at the beginning it was going to look like watercolor painting or look like somebody had done kind of very clever China painting. Isn't that gorgeous? How does that look, Nick?
That looks great.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. Remember I had that little bit at the beginning, that little piece of cloth with the isopropyl alcohol on it. So I just want to show you how easy it is to clean off. So I'm just going to pop this on here. Sorry, Nick, I was a bit fast plopping that in front of the camera. I apologise. And what I'm going to do is, so there's a little bit here, it's a bit messy down at the bottom. Let's just give that a little clean, because we don't mind a little bit of white negative space. And you can see it just cleans off really beautifully. Now, if I was spending a little bit longer on this rather than doing this very quickly so that you guys can just see the general process, I'd probably go around this with a Q-tip just to really clean it off. And then off the bottom, we can just get there, and then the same around the top here if I wanted just to give this a really good clean. You see, it just comes off very easily and very, very simply. Now, you can get the alcohol inks in metallics, which also look really, really nice. And have I got one? So I've got a silver here. So this is the silver mixative. And maybe if I wanted to, I could, I'm going to give this a shake. You could absolutely do something like, I'm just going to just zoom in a little bit closer again for me, Nick. That'd be great. I can just do a little bit of silver around the top. I'm not going for a particularly straight line, but just, the reason I'm going with silver is because the silver is on the top of the, what do you call it? The soap dispenser. So I'm going to just give an extra squeeze here and there so we get some drips just popping down, because that kind of looks kind of cute and kind of pretty. When we do this, all we need to do is we can just leave it as it is. Just wash it by hand. Just obviously don't put any alcohol on it. You can just treat it as very delicate pottery, or we can seal it, because the one thing you do need to know about alcohol ink is that it's not UV stable. What does UV stable mean? It means that if you put this in the sunlight, it's going to fade a little bit. So if you want to spray it to stop it being lightened by the sunlight, you need to spray it with this first, and then spray it with, or add any kind of UV resistant varnish on top. Hey guys, so I've just popped together all of the items that we created because I wanted you to see just how gorgeous all the different colours are and how they actually work together. So there's the purples and the pinks that we just did, and I did that a little bit quickly, and then we have the pink and the red going across to a couple of different blues, pinks and blues, and then right at the back here we've got our green and red. And I really, really want to focus in here on the gorgeous way that the saran wrap has just separated out the colour. I absolutely love it. I think this is such a quick, simple make that will really impress anybody that you want to give something like this to as a gift. I hope you've enjoyed my make here today.